Hey everybody, good to see you this afternoon in this middle of the week hump day. As we go through, in case you need an update, today is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. I had to consult my calendar as well to make sure I was on the right day. It's a little breezy around here today. The trees are moving. The wind is going through the trees and things are swaying and going about. And it reminded me to think of this Hebrew word called ruach. Ruach. Everybody say it with me. Ruach. And it's a word that means, a Hebrew word that means wind and spirit. And it's the same word that's used when God breathes life into creation in Genesis and God's protection over people all over the Old Testament. The word is ruach, and it is about God's breath and God's life-giving spirit in this world, and it is the word that is also used for breathing in and out. It is God's deeply spiritual and life-giving breath that we take. And on windy days like this, it helps me remember about God's spirit that hovers and moves, but also that God's spirit isn't inactive, that it twirls and moves and pushes us and guides us and takes us places that we didn't even know. As you all might know, I grew up in the mountains of Colorado, in Estes Park, Colorado, and it was on the side of the Continental Divide where the weather, the wet and all the ski area, snow and all that kind of stuff would stop on the western side of the Continental Divide. And we lived on the eastern side of the Continental Divide, which meant that as the weather stopped and dumped all the snow on the ski areas and all that, the wind from those storms would tumble over the mountains and gush through our town, and especially in the wintertime, and it was cold, and it wasn't uncommon to see 60 or 70 mile an hour gusts of wind. In fact, our house was built very sturdy, and we could always tell when the wind gusts were over 70 miles an hour, because that was when the house would start to creak. It was at 70 miles an hour, and we'd say, oh, guess it's a windy night today. But the running joke was that if you had an umbrella, like an awning umbrella or something, in the wintertime in Estes Park, it would be in Kansas by March. And it would be taken away and going away. And so we just didn't put them out. Or have things that could go away. But it's a reminder that sometimes God's Spirit is strong and powerful, not some sweet, comforting, cooling breeze like it can be in the summertime. But sometimes it feels like we're wrapped up in storms that are big and moving, but it's also that same breath that gives us life in the midst of it all. And so God's Spirit, God's Ruach, can be both terrifying and life-giving all at the same time. I imagine that's how creation was the first time that life was breathed into it. Didn't quite know what to do with itself, but it knew that God did breathe life into it. And so today, as you might go outside or might watch the trees move or the birds soar on the currents of the air today, or maybe even go fly a kite like my daughter wants to do, that this is good kite flying wind. May you remember that God's breath lives deep within you. That as you breathe in God, you are breathing in the very life force that gives you love and encouragement and hope. That it is God's doing that you breathe. And as you breathe out, may you breathe out God's mercies into this world. And that you are part of God's good creation. And may the waving trees wave at you, and may you wave back and say hello to all of those leaves that are God's creation too. My friends, we love you, and we hope you are well, and we'll see you soon. Grace and peace. Bye.